When my mother looked across the closing table and said, "Stop embarrassing yourself," my father calmly slid a folder toward the buyers. "You never appreciated that house," she added. "Your sister needed it more." Paige sat beside them with her husband and their realtor, staring at me as if I were the one who didn't belong. I had arrived alone, only moments before the sale was supposed to be finalized, and everyone assumed I was too late to stop it. What none of them knew was that the lawyer's phone call earlier that morning had already changed everything. 3 weeks earlier, I had been stocking medication carts during my shift at the rehabilitation center when my phone vibrated. My father had posted a message in our family group chat that read, "We sold your house to help Paige. Don't make this ugly." I read those words 4 times before they finally sank in. The house they were talking about was my 2-story home in Cedar Grove, the one I had bought 6 years earlier after years of working double shifts and living in a tiny rented basement to save every possible dollar. When my father needed heart surgery, I welcomed both of my parents into that house without hesitation. Later, after accepting a nursing position 90 minutes away, I rented an apartment closer to work while allowing them to continue living there. Paige had always been the family emergency that everyone revolved around. First, it was her failed boutique, then unpaid taxes, then an expensive divorce. Every crisis came with the same excuse. She had children, while I was the responsible and stable one. Apparently, being stable meant my sacrifices never required my permission. I immediately called my father. "You cannot sell property that doesn't belong to you," I told him. He let out a slow sigh before replying. "You signed a power of attorney when I handled the roof repairs." I reminded him that the document only authorized him to deal with the insurance company and roofing contractor. It never gave him permission to sell my home. He simply answered, "Then let a judge decide. Paige's childcare center shuts down on Friday if we don't get the money." That night, I sat alone on my apartment floor holding the brass key I had received the day I bought that house. Memories flooded back. My mother painting the kitchen walls, my father building shelves in the garage, and Paige showing up with pizza while we celebrated. Losing the house was painful, but realizing those same memories had been used as the foundation for stealing it from me hurt even more. Instead of arguing with them again, I gathered every document I owned. The limited power of attorney, clearly, listed only the insurance company and roofing contractor, and included a 90-day expiration date. It had actually expired 2 years earlier. When I checked the county records, I discovered that a warranty deed transferring ownership had been filed 11 days before my father sent that text message. The signature looked remarkably similar to mine, but one detail immediately stood out. The notary was Tessa Wynn, Paige's former college roommate. Not long afterward, I received a careful phone call from Daniel Cho, the attorney representing the couple buying my property. He politely introduced himself before asking a simple question. "Did you personally sign a deed on June 3? I answered, with a single word. "No." The silence on the other end of the line lasted several seconds before he spoke again and asked whether I had ever authorized the proceeds from the sale to be transferred to Bright Steps Learning, LLC. Bright Steps Learning, LLC was Paige's childcare business. Daniel explained that the buyers, Hannah and Luis Ortega, had placed their life savings into escrow to purchase my home. During the routine title review, their title company uncovered an old discrepancy involving the release of a previous mortgage. To clear it up, they contacted me using the phone number listed in my original loan records. Daniel expected nothing more than a routine confirmation call. Instead, he uncovered what appeared to be a carefully planned fraud. We immediately agreed not to alert my family while we gathered evidence. I filed an emergency affidavit challenging the validity of the deed, submitted genuine handwriting samples for comparison, and contacted the State Notary Commission to report the suspicious notarization. At the same time, Daniel postponed the closing by telling everyone that the title insurance company still required one final document before the sale could proceed. Meanwhile, my mother proudly posted a picture of Paige standing outside her childcare center, smiling while holding a giant cardboard key. The caption proudly read, "Family saves family." On the day of the closing, my father confidently handed over a photocopy of the expired power of attorney. Their realtor insisted that I had verbally approved the sale months earlier. Then Tessa Wynn appeared through a live video call and confidently swore that she had personally watched me sign the deed at my parents' kitchen table. I stayed silent and allowed everyone to finish telling their version of the story. Only then did Daniel calmly place the original limited power of attorney next to the photocopy they had presented. Looking directly at everyone in the room, he said, "This document never authorized the sale of this property." My father barely hesitated before responding, "She signed the deed separately." I looked him in the eyes and calmly asked, "That's your strongest argument?" My mother leaned toward me with obvious frustration and whispered, "Take whatever small amount you think you deserve and stop destroying Paige's future." Without saying another word, I slid my official work schedule across the table. On the exact day Tessa claimed she witnessed me signing documents in Cedar Grove, I had been clocked into a 12-hour nursing shift in Columbus. Security camera footage showed me entering the medication room at precisely the same minute the deed was supposedly being notarized. Paige's expression immediately changed, but my father refused to give up. Pointing at the paperwork, he insisted, "Work schedules can be changed." Daniel calmly opened another file. The county's electronic filing records showed that the deed had been uploaded directly from the internet connection at Paige's childcare center. Even more damaging, the metadata revealed that the document had originally been created on my father's laptop before being edited under Paige's personal user account. Even after seeing that evidence, they still tried to blame the realtor. At that moment, a second investigator entered the conference room carrying another report. The State Notary Commission had compared Tessa's official notary journal with her banking records. The investigation revealed that just 2 days after the fraudulent notarization, Bright Steps Learning LLC had transferred $8,000 to Tessa under the description, consulting. The instant those findings were announced, Tessa's video connection suddenly disconnected. Paige immediately burst into tears. She argued that her childcare center employed 12 women and accused me of choosing a house over innocent children's livelihoods. Then my father lost his temper and shouted, "You promised this would look legal!" The entire room heard every word. I turned toward Paige and quietly said, "You needed help. Instead, you chose theft." The closing was immediately canceled, the fraudulent deed was declared invalid, and Hannah and Luis Ortega received every dollar of their escrow funds back. Daniel also helped them recover their inspection expenses through the brokerage's insurance policy. Prosecutors opened a criminal case for document fraud. Tessa lost her notary commission, Paige's childcare business eventually filed for bankruptcy, and my parents were forced to sell their condominium to repay the money involved in the scheme. That autumn, I finally moved back into my own house. I repainted the kitchen by myself and removed the shelves my father had once built, not because they were damaged, but because I needed every corner of that home to feel truthful again. My parents still mail me birthday cards every year, but Paige has never contacted me again. I mourn them as people who are still alive, yet no longer deserve my trust. In the end, I didn't just reclaim my house. I reclaimed something far more valuable, the right to decide how much love should ever cost.